So when I first heard of Hall of Fame, I thought, duh, Hall of Fame. It's a hall. It's got four walls and no legs. All right. All right. So I'm Alishan Aziz, and if there's one thing I learned through experience, is that punning on names isn't as easy as you think. So when I told my friends I was going to perform my jokes this evening, they asked me, aren't you afraid someone's going to come and knock your teeth off? I said, nah, I got it covered, bro. I braced for it. Okay, so my friends are so weird. They had this weird competition of seeing who could kick their footwear the highest. And you know what? The winner was such a shoe-off. All right. So this is for the math nerds. Now, one of these friends, all right, he's Z is equal to 4i. Weird name. But he's always sad and depressed. So I go to him and I'm like, 4i, what happened to you? Why are you so depressed? And he said, because there's nothing real about me. Yeah, math nerd. Nerd alert. Okay. Yep. And I have this classmate of mine named Om, and I tell him, Om, why don't you go and audition for Star Wars? Because in that galaxy, you'd be a legend. And he looks at me surprised, and he goes, why? And I said, because Om, you represent resistance. All right, so any anime fans in here? Someone who keeps track of anime? Okay, so I have a friend of mine who bunked college to watch anime all day. All right, he calls me up and he says, hey, can you give me false attendance? I said, what? The network's bad. I didn't get you. He said, false attendance. I said, what? I don't understand what you're saying. And he said, false attendance, ergo proxy. That's the name of an anime. Now, the last one of my friends who was kicking his footwear, so he watched Black Panther. Now, that's a historic movie because you've got an all-black cast, and black director, black musicians. So he comes to me and he says, I'm disappointed with the movie. It's just black everywhere, black people. And I say, what kind of person are you? That's racist. All right, okay. Why do you think men avoid public toilets? Like, why do men generally avoid public toilets? Close enough. Urinal low maintenance area. I know. Toilet jokes are just so crappy. Okay, I'm sorry I seem a little exhausted today. So thing is, I was invited as a guest to a literary event in Tumkur yesterday. So I rode all the way there, and I go there well-dressed. I show up there, and turns out the literary event guest was just a prank, and I, like a fish, fell for debate. So, how many of us know of Oedipus complex? What Oedipus complex is? Okay, so it's a condition in psychology. So in that, a person feels sexual attraction towards their own parents. Okay, it's messed up. But let's get into the origins of the term. Now, this traces back to ancient Greek culture. And a king was fortunate enough to have a son. The oracles of those days predicted that your son is going to grow up, kill you, and marry your wife. That was messed up. The king was so disgusted, he nailed his son to a tree upside down on the border of his kingdom. Now, the king of the neighboring country, he wasn't fortunate enough to have kids. So he saw this child hanging upside down, and he adopted him. What happens? The son became prince of the neighboring kingdom. Now, inevitably, the two kingdoms clashed one day, and the prince had to kill the enemy king. So the son killed his father, and the rule of the day was that if you kill the king, you have to marry the queen. Unfortunately, son marries his own mother without knowing it. And when he found out, they had 4 kids. messed up. And when he found out, he plucked out his own eyes. This is such a tragedy. Now, let us take a moment to reflect that if the king had never listened to the oracles, the whole motherfucking situation could have been avoided. Literally. Okay. Now, Sigmund is the father of psychology. He's the one who proposed Oedipus complex. And I think that it's great that we can take references from Greek history, because otherwise I'm afraid of what would have happened to psychology. That's it for the evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great one.